Welcome back to Credit Nerdery, brought to you by Tyrannic Financial. Welcome back to Credit Nerdery. If you're experiencing late payments on your credit report, this video we will walk you through a few steps that you can take in order to delete off those late payments. The late payments are some of the most challenging issues on a credit report to delete off, but it can be deleted. And in this video, we just want to walk you through how to delete them. I'm going to give you at least 3 different ways that you are able to delete off late payments. So, often say credit repair is not a one size fits all, and a lot of time there are blanket statements that are made in regards to particular issues, but in almost every area of derogatory information on a credit report, there are different way approaches that is needed, sometimes depending on what is there and what are the factors that influence what is there. So there are several ways that you can deal with a late payment. The first way how we can deal with a late payment, right? We can determine what is the issue that caused the late payment to be reported in the first place, because it's not every late payment that is reported on a credit report, a consumer report, necessarily is correct. So when it is the case that you have been reported late and you were not late, then you can dispute it 2 ways. And I'll walk you through the 2 ways. You can dispute it from the basis of accuracy of reporting on your from the FCRA. When you dispute it from that respect, usually you're gonna dispute it. You can dispute it with a creditor, and you can dispute it with a credit bureau, and you use the FCRA to dispute it. Now, when you do that, you can submit your necessary documentation to show that you were not late, show that you made the payment, when you made the payment, all of that. And that will bolster your chance of getting it off. Sometimes the credit bureau will make the decision even before they send it over to the creditor to delete off the late payment if your documentation to prove that the late payment was not late. And you have proof that you pay it, they will usually sometimes delete off without the wrestling with the creditor. Now, sometimes you might be able to send it in, and when you send it in, the creditor might come back verify, the credit bureau might come back verify. In a case like this, you would do the next step. You would not do a fair credit reporting dispute, or you can use that plus do a stacking on it, and also do a fair credit billing app. This is the app that you see most people are showing up online, 1666 and 1637, but they're not in most videos. They don't actually tell you what law is that they're using. In the fair credit billing app was created by Congress. And the Fair Credit Billing Act, the reason why you don't really see it flying all over the place, but because it was constructed and implemented as an amendment to the Truth in Lending Act. So the Fair Credit Billing Act is a part of the Truth in Lending Act. So that is why you don't really see a lot of individuals pushing and speaking about it. The Fair Credit Billing Act specifically was built to deal with late payment issues, because one of the problems that were happening where credit reporting is concerned, that individuals would buy goods in some instances and the goods were faulty and stuff like that, and the creditor would still use the threat of reporting to credit bureaus in order to compel individuals to pay. So Congress had those issues, and there's also issues where individuals would be tell one thing because the Children Learning Act specifically was created to deal with the abuses that were taking place in how credit transactions were being financed. So when the credit transaction actually goes through some time, the terms of the payment would change by creditors, and then they would threaten the customer, the consumer, with reporting them to a credit bureau in order to compel them to pay. There's also the other area where things would happen to the consumer and it comes out of nowhere on the consumer, and they would be charged for things that they don't know what the charge would be for. And it would take months, sometimes even years. Consumers are battling this dispute, but nothing was in place to deal with it. So Congress enacted the Fair Credit Billing Act in order to address this issue. So when you hear, for example, Section 1666 says that under no circumstances a creditor can report a payment as late, except they issue a billing statement 21 days prior to the due date of the payment. All of this come into play to remedy the abuses that creditors were doing, because creditors weren't issuing billing statements. We come in a time where billing statement is normative in our bills and our credit card and anything that we do. There was a time when billing statements weren't being issued, and sometimes people cannot get any answers to what they are paying for, and they are being reported late when they are challenging it. So Congress remedied this by making sure so the Fair Credit Billing Act is the foundation of the reporting of any late payment. So I would advise any one of us, if you have a credit card or any form of credit transaction with anyone, we are being pushed in a direction with the language of the climate supporters to say that we need to reduce certain kind of paper and things like that in order to protect the environment. That is true to a certain extent, but when you actually go paperless, you're giving up some of your rights and giving up some of the power that you can have in disputing, because if the creditor under the Fair Credit Billing Act did not send you your billing statement 21 days prior to your due date, then that is ground for you to dispute any reporting of late payment. Even though you have to do it within a 60-day window, but sometimes the creditor and those who are on the inside not going to be paying attention that you need 60 days, because when this law is taught or repeated online, most people don't realize that, or is saying, if they realize, or I don't know if they don't realize, you have 60 days basically within which the error, the billing dispute from the time that issue arises, that you can dispute it. 60 days, 2 billing cycles. Billing cycle is 30 days. So if it's after 60 days, I would still try and use it to see if I can get any leverage with it. But once you can prove that they never give you a billing statement, if you accept paperless or online statement, then it will be much harder to pay the proof. For example, I went in one of my credit cards and the billing statement is online. I don't ever remember of signing up for paperless billing with this company. But when I am trying to find the date that the billing statement was issued and uploaded online, I couldn't find it. Nothing is there in the portal to tell me that. So when you go paperless, it robs you of the right to be able to dispute late payment using the Fair Credit Billing Act. And they must issue to you your billing statement and the notices that comes with that under 1637. So that is a way that you can dispute late payment. Challenge when if you can prove that 21 days prior to your due date, the bill wasn't issued, you can use that to dispute the late payment and get it deleted. So that is the second way that you can use, and you can probably stop both the inaccurate reporting aspect of the FCRA with the Fair Credit Billing Act and dispute it. So you stop both of them together and dispute the late payment. So that is two ways you can deal with late payment. The third way you can actually dispute the late payment is a more passive way and a more cordial way, which is to do a goodwill letter. Goodwill letter do work. I use goodwill letter at different times in my journey, and I got deletions with goodwill letter. But the goodwill letter, you gotta construct the letter in such a way where you are actually giving the reasons why you were late. And it usually work when your delinquency is not that bad. Your delinquency is bad, you're past 60 days, 90 days, and so on and so on. It's a bit tougher to actually get any leverage, unless it's probably something like a mortgage account where you have years upon years of paying your mortgage, and you're gonna have a long time with that service or the mortgage company or the bank, and then you can probably use that to get if you get bad into beyond the 60-day period, then they might work with you because you're gonna have a long-term relationship with them, and especially if more than a year has passed and you have been making your payments steadily and you have a good relationship. Usually when we do goodwill letter, we send them to the CEOs and sorry, the higher ups into the companies. And it's good if you can do that. You can find the CEOs for the company's email addresses online. And sometimes most of these CEOs have multiple email addresses. And sometimes they have assistants that are reading emails. So what I do when I do a goodwill letter, I send in both a physical letter and I also send in email letter. But what you need to also do, if you're gonna send in the letter, a lot of times we file disputes and we use, especially if you're gonna do the Fair Credit Billing Act dispute, you need to make sure that you actually file that dispute to the address that they give you to send that dispute to. Because a lot of these companies, they have a specific address that you actually need to send the dispute to. Sometimes it's not the address that is on the credit report. They have a specific address, and that is usually in your agreement that comes with the credit product that you have. They usually list it in there where under the section that deal with disputes. Sometimes why that is important, sometimes if you don't send it to that address, they don't pay the dispute anymore. You have to send it to the address. They respond to you, but they're not going to give you what you want because they're not sending it or using the medium that they actually tell you to use in order to interact with them. So you usually will find this in the agreement. Go to the dispute section. Usually it's close to where they have an arbitration section sometimes. And you put together your dispute and send it there. So once you do that, sometimes the goodwill letter, you have to send it multiple times to get results, because when I do it, a lot of times I see I have to do it multiple times. First time they reject it, and if you go, but as I said, you don't blame them when you're doing a goodwill letter. You tend to be a bit more cordial and a bit more submissive in how you do it. Some people basically reject the goodwill letter, but it does work. And that is a way that you can deal with the late payment. So another way that you can deal with the deletion of a late payment, just as you dispute with any other, especially if this late payment is a much older one and it's sitting there for a while, one of the ways that you can use to dispute it is the verification method. Just like how you ask for accounts to be verified, you can request that the late payment be verified. And if they can't verify the late payment, remember, the verification of the late payment is different from the verification of the account itself. So you've got to be specific that you are requesting a verification of the late payment. If they can't verify the late payment, they got to delete it, just as how they can't verify an account, they have to delete it. That is another way you can use to delete it. And then if they come back verify, you can hit them again with the method of verification notice from 611 section 7 of 611. So you can actually do that as well. So it's not just account you can dispute with verification. You can also dispute late payment with verification request and then hit them again with the method of verification. Let them work out and show you how they know that you were late. But as I said, these are the 4 ways that you can use to delete late payment. So there's not just one approach to late payment, and the verification method usually it can be more important when the late payments are much older, because that means a lot of the data sometimes that surrounds how your transaction were processed and all of that. So I think sometimes might be gone, might be deleted out the system, and so on and so forth. So the verification usually helps you much better when the late payments are much older than those that are fresh, which you still can track when they're fresh, but it works much better when they're older. So these are 4 ways how you can actually get late payments deleted. I hope this is helpful. Keep going, keep being persistent. Credit Nerd here. We're out.